Noswaith, a very good evening to you all. Welcome to a rather chilly and blustery Stoke Kairas as Wrexham prepare to entertain Stevenage and see if they can continue this outstanding home record. 5 days on from the high-octane battle with Birmingham City, and their mid-table rivals make the long journey north. A very different challenge tonight for Phil Parkinson's side, but 3 priceless points as ever on the table as Wrexham try and keep pace with Birmingham and Wycombe at the upper echelons of the League One table. Alongside me this evening, as ever, we have Mia Roberts and Andy Morell, shivering in the North Walian chill. Are you coping all right there, Andy?
I've gone with no gloves and
Brave.
I've gone with no snood, so they may be coming out in a bit.
And Mia, of course, you come complete with the electrified gilet. Tell us about this wonderful garment.
Yep, Christmas present off my father, so I've got to give him credit. Very grateful for it. I was boiling last Thursday against Birmingham, so hopefully the same tonight.
Perfect for the conditions. Well, it is a chilly night, as we say, here at the Stoke Kairas, but the conditions on the pitch looking very good as Wrexham try and continue this outstanding home record. And without further ado, let's have a look at the team that have been named by Phil Parkinson for tonight's battle with Stevenage. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the same 11 are kept faith with who did such a valiant job against Birmingham City 5 days ago. The only alteration by manager Parkinson is on the bench, where new signing Ryan Longman comes in for Jacob Mendy. Otherwise, it's as you were from last Thursday night. Mia, is that the squad you were anticipating?
Absolutely. I couldn't see anyone getting replaced after the performance they all put in on Thursday, and obviously Mullin and Fletcher did well when they came on, but I think the work Elliot Lee and Ollie Palmer did in that first 60 odd minutes or so was really good, so hopefully they can do the same tonight. And like you say, brilliant to see Ryan Longman straight into that squad, and I'm sure he'll be hoping to get some minutes tonight and hopefully get some in on his debut.
Andy, perhaps not a surprise as we say that there are no changes to the team, but the opposition, the context, the whole feel of this game couldn't be more different really from this time 5 days ago.
Well, I think this is potentially harder than the Birmingham game in some ways off the back, because as a player, the Birminghams, they look after themselves off the pitch. You're desperate to do well against them. You've got to do well to have a chance in the game, whereas Stevenage come into town, not scored many goals away from home, don't concede many. Not many fans here. It's not going to be a sellout tonight. There's going to be a very different atmosphere in here to there was on Thursday night. So the players have to make sure that their attitude, their application is spot on tonight to get anything out of the game.
And Stevenage's away record, similar to Wrexham, far inferior to their home record, but they are tough to score against on the road.
That's right. I think they've had 7 clean sheets out of 11. They've had 5 0-0s in there as well. So I think the first goal will be key tonight. If we can get that first goal, it means they have to come out a little bit. But they're very, very good defensively. We found that out down at their place, with the 1-0 loss that we had. We put a lot of balls into their box and they headed everything out. So they're very, very well organised. We're going to have to find a way maybe of not just crossing it into the box, but maybe that's why I think we've gone with a similar team as well. We're looking for Elliot Lee to unlock that in those pockets around the area rather than just putting it all in the box like we have done before.
We're going to hear from Ryan Longman, Mia, later in the programme as we build up to kick-off today. But how much of a fillip do you think it gives the squad to see a player with his pedigree and particularly offering that wide threat be added to the already strong ranks over the last few days?
No, I think it looks a really good signing. I think he's someone with, at age 24 with already over 100 appearances in the Championship. I mean, that's a real statement, of intent to the rest of the league. I think Oxford United wanted him as well, so for us to beat them to his signature is another, it's a massive statement, and it shows what we're really pushing for this season. And I think, he seems like he can go either side. He's even played up front a few times, so he can come in and do a few different roles as well. And the quality he brings, that can only push up the quality that's already out there. The lads out there now know they're playing for their space, and they've got to do well to keep that space.
And I know you've been having a look at him here in terms of clips and past highlights. Where do you think we're most likely to see him deployed within the Wrexham system and within the personnel that we already have?
I'd have to say probably in James McLean's position on that left-hand side. I think he can use both feet. I think I've seen him more on that right foot, but he looks like he can be both-footed, so he could cut in, he could go on either side, like I say. But I think that's probably the position where you'd be looking at. You're looking at James McLean, obviously getting a bit older now as well. To have someone, of Ryan Longland's quality coming in, when you've got someone like James McLean, I think it adds a different sort of player. Obviously we've got Ryan Barnett on the other side. I think he's maybe a bit of a Ryan Barnett kind of player to come in on that left, so that could be for us, a massive asset.
And Andy, you were at Stevenage, you mentioned that game a couple of minutes ago. In the dressing room, how much does it play on the mind of players when you run out for a game like tonight, as Wrexham have just done behind us for the warm-up, to want to put right what went wrong early in the season in the return game?
Well, it gives you a reason to go out and perform for one and first mode, because you want to put that right. You don't hate to be done back-to-back as by the same team home and away, so we've not had that done to us for a very, very long time. So that's certainly something in the mind. They'll be certainly going, come on lads, we owe these one in the dressing room, and hopefully we can go with that same desire, that same intensity that we played with in the second half on Thursday, and really take the game to them.
Full set of fixtures tonight, Mia, which we'll have a look at shortly, and one of them stands out, Huddersfield against Birmingham. We're starting to get to that point in the season, aren't we now, where there's a few key matches that are just jumping off the page, which could be really seminal in terms of the aspirations teams have and who might really start to break away with Birmingham, it seems, in those top two spots.
Yeah, and obviously us having played Birmingham twice now, we can sort of take our eyes off them and let them go, in my opinion. I think, now we've obviously got to focus on ourselves primarily, but you are sort of looking now towards Wycombe and Huddersfield and hoping they do drop a few points. Obviously, had a good weekend in terms of that. This weekend just gone, but yeah, tonight that Huddersfield-Birmingham game, it should be a brilliant game. I think Awata's meant to be fit again, so I imagine he's probably back in that squad, which is a massive boost for Birmingham. Not that they need any more boosts, but no, he's a massive player for them. So yeah, I think obviously probably from our point of view, we're probably hoping for a Birmingham, result there. But yeah, it could be a tasty one. I think Wycombe have got Barnsley at home well, so that's another massive game. So yeah, it's all going to be massive games now every week. So, but we've just got to focus on ourselves, like I say, and at this place normally we've been accustomed to getting 3 points. Hopefully we can do the same tonight. And
a few days, of course, left still in the transfer window, Andy, for all clubs to look at. Phil Parkinson certainly suggesting that it's not the case that Wrexham have closed the book on that, and there could well still be some late comings and goings, which will really set the context for the squads across the division for the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I think it's 11 o'clock on Monday, the 3rd of February, that the window's shut. So I think get this game out of the way. I think then they'll be looking to really nosedive into the transfer market. I'm sure Phil Parks is desperate to bring a couple of new faces in, but that will obviously lead to a couple maybe going the other way as well. But I think there's no sentiments at the moment. We've given ourselves a great platform, a great opportunity to try and get that first spot in this league, and we've got to take it this time. It might not happen again if we don't take it, so we've got to try and just push, I think, to just bring those players in that we believe that are just going to take us over the line in the last 20 games.
And a key first step on that journey, Mia, of course, is tonight, and Stevenage arrive here having had a good win at Barnsley last time out with a goal in the 92nd minute. Form has been a bit patchy prior to that, but 4 changes tonight from Alex Ravel from the team that won in South Yorkshire. What do you read into that?
Yeah, obviously quick turnaround Saturday, Tuesday, so it could just be a case of energy and getting some legs in here for they know is going to be a difficult game here at the racecourse. But I think they might maybe change that shape up. I think they could go for a 4-4-2. Different striker coming in alongside Reid, maybe up top tonight. I'm not too sure. I think Dan Kemp's probably the one to watch from their point of view. Really good number 10, did really well for Swindon in League 2. Hasn't quite maybe done as well as he would have wanted to, but 6 goals already this season. For a team who aren't scoring a lot, that's good. I think our top goal scorer Elliot Lee's only on 6 as well, so that says a lot. So I think he's the one to watch tonight. But hopefully, if we get an early goal, I expect us to go full throttle and hopefully pen them back as well.
Okay, well, I can see Phil Parkinson is here ready to join us on Match Day Live to get his thoughts. Good evening, Phil.
Good evening, yeah.
Good to see you, and we've just been talking about your unchanged team for this evening. Was that a relatively straightforward decision for you to take, or was there still some tough choices?
Yeah, it was a couple of calls we contemplated, but I just think that the team functioned well the other day. And the balance was decent in the side, and we know what's required tonight. It's going to be a different type of game, and I think these are a physical team. They'll put the ball in behind us. the front three will stay high out of possession, which leaves space for us for our 2-8s, and the switches are played to our wing backs. I think it's going to be really important tonight. So they look to play on the counter. They're not a team who are going to play out from the back, so it's going to be more of a physical encounter, first and seconds, and then can we show that quality to play in the areas that they're going to leave open with their front three.
They don't tend to score or concede too many, Stevenage, Phil, so you're expecting that you're going to have to get the ball down and wide quickly tonight to try and unlock them?
Yeah, I think so. I think when we play against the back four, we work a lot, especially in and around the final third, getting that extra pass in, because the opposition back four tends to come narrow in those situations, and we keep our wing backs high and wide and get them in some dangerous positions, which we've scored goals, particularly early in the season when teams came and set up with a back four against us. So yeah, but we're going to have to earn it tonight, because like I say, they don't give much away. I went to the Barnsley game at the weekend, and they were quite relentless in what they did in terms of putting the ball into the channels, squeezing up from the back, playing for long throws, etc. And then once the game opened up, they showed a bit of quality and won the game. But it's an important game for us tonight. It really is. And I stressed to the lads yesterday that tonight's about mentality. It's about understanding that we're going to have to really work hard for this result tonight. And the weekend of me going to watch Barnsley, Stevenage, other staff watching games, when we came back in together on the Sunday, it was all how hard it is to win games. Now the nitty-gritty is starting to arrive into the season. There's no openness from teams. Teams are fighting for relegation battles, they're fighting for their futures, and that's where we are in the season. So we've got to expect that tonight, and we've got to be ready to really play well, concentrate and have a focus about what we spoke about and worked on yesterday in training, and put it into practice like we did against Birmingham.
And in terms of trying to do that and getting the result you're looking for tonight, your squad is strengthened by a new face this week in Ryan Longman. I know when you talk to us in the press, Phil, you're always saying, we're only going to bring players in who are going to make us better relative to where we're sitting now at the top of the League One echelons. What's Ryan going to bring to the squad that's new, and what should the supporters be looking for from him?
Yeah, well, he's a good young player. He's got pace. He's dynamic in the way he plays. He can play right, left. He can play down the middle as well. And when we found out he was available, we looked at it in the summer. Even though Barney's doing well and Jimmy's doing well, we need strength in depth, to go into this last half of the season. And we thought the opportunity to bring Ryan into the club at a relatively good price, with his contract being in the summer, was an opportunity we just couldn't turn down. And the supporters will enjoy watching Ryan play. He fits into how we want to play. He can play several positions, but he's got a good hunger about him, the way he goes about his game. And if he gets on tonight, I'm sure the supporters will give him a great reception.
Well, Phil, thanks very much for joining us. We look forward, hopefully, to seeing Ryan later in action, and we hope to catch up with you, of course, at full time. Thank you.
Cheers,
all the best with the game tonight. Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson looking ahead to tonight's battle with Stevenage. And, of course, if you haven't sorted your iFollow pass for tonight's coverage, head to wrexhamafc.co.uk/live, and you'll see all the options are available. And interesting to hear Phil talking about Ryan Longman there. We'll hear from him shortly, but we were having a conversation, weren't we, before we had Phil join us there, about where he's most likely to play, and the names that immediately were mentioned were James McLean and Ryan Barnett. So it looks very much like a player to bring depth to the wing-back area. Yeah,
well done, Mia. You spotted it. I think so, yeah, and because he's so versatile, right foot, left foot, he could probably cover both sides, as can Severin and as can Mendy. So he's got plenty of cover depth now on those wings if anything happens to one of those players for that running. What he does give you is probably, like he says, a bit more dynamism in his play. So he's a little bit more aggressive with the ball, a dribbler, going at people and trying to create stuff that end, which Jimmy's not really. He's normally a 7 out of 10 up and down, but good delivery. He's probably more 1v1, he'll be better at it with the ball, so he'll add something to that left hand side and certainly put pressure on those two, which is only good for the players in the team.
And Mia, while we're talking about contracts, we've obviously seen two players extend theirs this week, Jacob Mendy and Jack Marriott. Just interested in your thoughts, particularly on Jacob Mendy of the two, because he's a player recruited very much in your position on the left-hand side in our National League days, who the club are clearly feeling still has a future and can keep stepping up the levels.
No, I think it's really nice to see, for a player to have come in, like you say, National League, Boreham Wood. I think it shows, we're not going to get, keep going up these leagues and just grab players from from above and continue in that vein. I think we can carry players with us as well. And Jacob Mendy's been a real good servant over the last few years. I thought he was exceptional. In the first few seasons, obviously he's not been involved as much, but when he gets brought in, he does a job, and you can't deny that. So really nice to see him get that reward of a contract. I think he's really well liked around the racecourse, and hopefully when he does get his opportunities in over the next few months or so, he continues to take them.
Let's have a look then at tonight's league table as it stands, and also this evening's fixtures, because as we were mentioning just a few moments ago, there's a couple of very tasty ones elsewhere in the division tonight. We will of course keep you across these games as they develop through the evening at half-time and at full-time. But if we look at the table as we start, we can see Wrexham sitting there in third position, just 3 points behind Wycombe Wanderers in that second automatic promotion slot. Stevenage down there in 15th place will actually perhaps still not have ruled out themselves a playoff run in the second half of the season. Phil Parkinson talking there that most teams have got something to play for at this stage, either upwards or downwards, and Stevenage, with a game or two in hand on most above them, may yet think that with a good run they could threaten the top six. But Wrexham, of course, at this stage very much eyeing one of those top two positions. Where will that table be at the end of the evening? We shall see. Let's have a look at what else is happening then around the division tonight. A full programme of fixtures in EFL League One. We picked out a couple earlier. The 8 o'clock kickoff between Birmingham City and Huddersfield. That doesn't look like tonight's games, but we'll see those in a moment. So Huddersfield-Birmingham is the 8 o'clock kickoff tonight. Wycombe against Barnsley, 7:45 in that game and in all the others. So Bolton against Northampton, Burton face Reading, it's Charlton against Bristol Rovers, Exeter City against inform Leyton Orient, Lincoln face Blackpool, Mansfield and Crawley, Peterborough, who are struggling at the moment, against Wigan Athletic, Rotherham face Cambridge, Stockport against Shrewsbury, and we've covered the bottom three on that grid. Mia, any of the other games that stand out to you tonight for interest beyond the Wycombe and Huddersfield games?
I'd probably pick out the Peterborough-Wigan, to be honest. I think obviously, like we say, Peterborough really struggling. Wigan I've seen a few times, I've been quite impressed. I think Asgard, though, been really heavily linked with a move away to Luton Town, so if they lose him, that could be a real big blow, because he's a player I really like in that squad. But obviously Peterborough down Ferguson really needing to pick up.
Yeah.
They've really dropped off, and I think that just goes to show in this league, you lose a few, if you lose that mentality, you can really struggle, and they've got a lot of quality players as well. So yeah, it goes to show the quality of this league, and you need to keep up that momentum.
I think, Andy, at the start of the season no one would have anticipated Peterborough to be struggling at that end of the table.
No, he was a bit harsh on his players as well after the weekend, saying they're one of the weakest sides he's had mentally with a defeat on the weekend. So yeah, they'll be looking, I'm sure, to get some experience in a really, really young team, Peterborough. Obviously a great manager in Darren Ferguson, so I'm sure that they'll be all right. But yeah, he was a little bit critical of his team on Saturday, so I don't know where that leaves him.
Well, we mentioned with Phil Parkinson a couple of minutes ago that there is a new face in the building this week. Ryan Longman, recruited from Hull City, is arrived in North Wales, and we've been catching up with him ahead of potentially his racecourse debut tonight.
Ryan, I'd imagine it's been a pretty whirlwind time for you. Welcome to the club. You've just had your first training session. How's it all been?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it has been a crazy few days now while this deal was going on. And yeah, obviously trained today, met some of the lads. They've always all been really welcoming, and looking forward to cracking on.
You've obviously only just started to get an experience of what this is all like, but what have your main takeaways been so far?
Obviously, I can feel the atmosphere. Obviously, being at the game the other night, the atmosphere with the fans, the lads in the changing room and stuff. There's a real goal, and there's a real ego, there's a goal that they want to achieve, and I feel like I'm going to be a real big part of that as well with them.
To take you back to the start of your career, coming through the ranks at Brighton, what was it like, that early stage of trying to make it as a footballer? Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, probably similar as in where this club is at the moment, is where Brighton was. Obviously, I know they were in the champ at the time, but they were obviously going through a big transition with new, obviously trying to get the promotion for the Premier League, new training ground, stuff like that. A few things that were going on behind the scenes that obviously fans probably don't see as much. So obviously as a youngster, being involved in all that, and then eventually sort of made a little debut in the Carabao Cup, obviously was a great achievement for me and my family. Yeah, it was obviously a great time, and it was obviously the place that obviously gave me the platform to then go on loan. My first loan's obviously Wimbledon, and yeah, that's when it really started. My career sort of kicked off.
And from that point, on the back of that Wimbledon loan spell, you've then gone on to establish yourself in the Championship. How has that experience helped you over the past couple of years? Yeah,
I think obviously having that platform at Wimbledon to then go to Hull City with that obviously League One experience, then going into the Champ for the first time, obviously was a big change. It's obviously a massive step up. It was a big step up, and yeah, it was obviously since playing at Hull, then going on loan to Millwall, and back at Hull again. Yeah, it's been. I guess every footballer's got their journey, and yeah, I've really enjoyed mine so far, and this is the next step for me now.
You spoke to the club upon your signing about interest in the summer. Did it feel like it was the right time to make the move now? Yeah,
100%. I think I was always keen to come here. Obviously in the summer, I was definitely keen to come here, and then when obviously I got the phone call saying there was obviously a bit of interest, I was like, brilliant. That's going to be a real good challenge for me. Me and my family obviously were really happy about it.
And then obviously you've spoken to Andy Cannon, who's a former teammate, now another teammate. Why did you make the move to Wrexham, and what sort of drew you to the project?
Obviously, yeah, speaking to the gaffer firstly, obviously has massive ambitions for this club and where he sees it, and obviously as an individual as well, where he sees me helping this club get to them places, and yeah, that's obviously something I wanted to be a part of. Also speaking to like your likes of Cannon, Dobbo, Ollie Palmer, they've had nothing to say, but all good words. Like they obviously love this place, and that's where something I want to feel as well. I want to be somewhere that other lads have loved and still loving, and I want to be a part of that as well.
And speaking about how important it is to be all together, what are your aspirations for your time at Wrexham?
Aspirations, well, firstly, is to enjoy it. I think, yeah, just enjoy my football and just show that what talent I have and what sort of player I am, and I want the fans to appreciate that. And yeah, obviously try and get them as far high as possible, as quick as possible.
Just finally, Ryan, you could be in line to make your first League One appearance since you were last on loan at Wimbledon. Stevenage at the Stoke Kairas tonight. What are you making of Stevenage as a side?
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a tough game. Like any game's tough, and I think being obviously the situation obviously Wrexham are in at the moment. Obviously we're going there to get the points. Like we want the points. Obviously I know obviously it was a bit disappointing obviously get the 1-1 draw when probably deserved the win against Birmingham, but yeah, hopefully now we can get them 3 points.
Thank you very much, Ryan, and best of luck.
Thank you.
New signing Ryan Longman giving us his thoughts after his arrival in North Wales. And if you'd like to see his medical, then there's a very good video on the official Wrexham AFC YouTube channel. So check that out to see the paces he was put through as he arrived at the club. Mia, we know that Ryan was in the stands for the Birmingham City match last week. If that doesn't get you intoxicated to join a club, I don't know what would.
Well, no, exactly. I think, hearing him say that, and obviously a few people knew he was here, I think what a game to watch and be around. And I think, the atmosphere that night was incredible. Might be the loudest maybe it's been so far this season. It was, a real good one to be at. So for him hearing that, I'm sure he'll be absolutely desperate to get on that pitch and show these fans, why he's here, what he can do for us. So yeah, I think, it's the perfect game really to come see. I think he's been following us since Andy Cannon made the move earlier on, because they're good friends from their time together at Hull. So from what he says in the interview, we always had a bit of an eye on Wrexham. I think, like he says, maybe thought he might end up here a bit earlier in the summer, but he's here now, so hopefully he can deliver.
And looking at his profile, Andy, 24 years old, championship experience at Hull, as Mia was mentioning. If we look at players who've come in and done well here, look at Ollie Rathbone as an example, Matty James as well. Players who've had recent championship experience have shown that they can bring that bit of quality and improve this squad. And at his age, he's still very developable, isn't he? You'd think the coaching staff have still got lots of scope.
As we go hopefully up through the leagues and continue, it's a little bit different to the profile when we're in the National League. We're getting players that could get us out of the league and play and then move on, but it wasn't longevity to that. But this one really seems like, and I think we've tweaked that a little bit, the profile of player that we are looking at, to try and elongate, I suppose, the way that they're going to come here and take us on that journey. And he looks like definitely he's in that category.
So Ryan Longman, very much the future in the left wing back role, maybe amongst other roles for the club. But we're now going to take the opportunity to look a little bit backwards at a left wing back who played for both Wrexham and Stevenage. Johnny Hunt will always be a name etched into Wrexham folklore. It was his decisive penalty on that famous day in March 2013 which gifted Wrexham the FA trophy under the player management of a certain man alongside me on Match Day Live. We had the chance to catch up with Johnny to hear his reflections on his time at both clubs just a few days ago.
With me, a man who appeared over 100 times in the red shirt of Wrexham, Johnny Hunt. Johnny, thank you very much for joining us to look ahead to Wrexham's match against Stevenage. You, of course, represented both of these clubs in your career, so it'd be great to get your insights in your time at both. Let's start with Wrexham, and of course you arrived at the racecourse at a very young age into the academy.
Yeah, it was a long time ago that now. 7 or 8 years of age I was. My school teacher was a coach at Wrexham. They had like a local centre in Liverpool, ended up going down there, and then you end up signing forms, and then since then Wrexham were in the, might have been old Division 2 then, or Division 1. They won the LDV Vans. I remember watching it on the telly.
2005, yeah.
2005. So I was in like the youth ranks then. And then from there, just obviously each year, just kept signing a new 1 year contract until you become a YTS, and then you get into the U team, and then sign a break into the first team. So it was the main part of my career, to be honest, from being a kid right the way through to 22, 23. So it was a long time.
When you had that first opportunity away at Oxford, I think it was in the 09-10 season, did it really feel like the kind of end of the journey that had begun as a 7-year-old, or was it very much in your eyes the beginning of your life as a professional?
Beginning, to be honest. All I ever wanted to do was to just play first team football. Since I was a kid, I was obsessed with it, wanted to be a footballer, and worked hard, to be honest. I worked as hard as I could to get that chance, and thankfully for Dean Saunders, he gave me my debut, so I was happy for that. And there was I think there was 2 games to go. The last 2 games, I started one, and I think I come off the bench on the second one. And then from there, it was just trying to build on it each year. Then that was my goal and plan for every season, just try and get more appearances and see where it took me.
Wrexham's first ever trip to Wembley Stadium, Grimsby Town the opponents in the FA Trophy final. Talk us through your memories of that day, the whole occasion, and obviously how it all ended.
The day leading up to, well, the semi-final was 2 legs, wasn't it?
Yeah, against Gainsborough Trinity.
Yeah, and I was playing like left of the front 3. And unlucky for Ashy, he got an injury, or it might have been the league game just before the final. I think he'd done his ankle. So I kind of knew I was going to be playing left back, which I hadn't played left back much that season. I think it might have been 1 appearance at left back. So it was a bit of a difference, but I thought if Ashy's not playing, there's probably no one else who can play, so I'd be playing. I remember it being freezing, snowing, icy. But when you're playing at Wembley, you're just looking forward to it. And we knew we had a lot. Wrexham obviously is a massive following, so we knew there was going to be, and there was a great crowd there, and Grimsby as well, to be fair to them. It was a good game. I thought we definitely deserved to win the game, but we ended up going 1-0 down. And then Captain Keaty wins as a penalty, doesn't he? Takes it into penalties, and obviously scoring the winning penalty was an unbelievable moment for me. I had all my friends and family there just to bring a bit of joy to Wrexham, because it's obviously been struggling over the last few years, but we felt like we were unlucky. But we honestly thought after that game we can go and get promoted now, and that was just takes a little bit of a shine off that FA Trophy win that we couldn't get promoted.
Moved on then from Wrexham to Cambridge United, then spent a couple of seasons, of course, at Chester, then to Mansfield, and then in June 2018 you moved from Mansfield to Stevenage, who Wrexham are squaring up to in their next match here in League One. What are your memories of your season at Broadhall Way in League Two with Stevenage, Johnny?
I loved it there. I enjoyed it. Really good small club, family-run club. Lovely facilities. Pretty close to London. Obviously, I'd moved away, but I was a lot older then. Touching on what you said there, when I left Wrexham to sign for Cambridge, I regret that. Since my career stopped, that moving away from home, I'd never lived away from home. That was a bad decision at the time. That didn't really work out for me. But when it come to Stevenage, I was a lot older and a lot more ready for it. Understood what it happens, what I'm signing up for, and I enjoyed it there. Look, good group of lads. But it's just tough, League Two. That's why you take your hat off to Wrexham getting promoted straight out to League Two. League Two and League One are two tough leagues. It's Saturday, Tuesday every other month. 46 league games with your cup games on top of it, with mostly small squads. So it's tough, but I look back on them all now and I enjoy my time, and everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? It's just the way football goes.
And then looking at tonight's game against Stevenage for Wrexham, Johnny, how are you seeing this one between your two old clubs?
I think Wrexham will be a bit too strong at home. But obviously, I know that with Stevenage's manager and assistant manager, that they're going to be in for a tough game. Then the two lads in charge there won't accept nothing less. So it will be a tough game. I think narrow win for Wrexham, 2-1, 1-0, something like that.
2-1 or 1-0 to Wrexham. Okay, Johnny. Well, look, thank you very much for joining us. Great to see you again. Enjoy the game between your two old clubs, and we'll keep a lookout for a 2-1 or a 1-0 Wrexham win.
Thank you very much, mate.
Time both at Broughton Way, Stevenage, and at the Stoke Kairas. Great to catch up with Johnny, and we know he's here tonight, so we'll keep an eye out for him through proceedings. Andy, you managed Johnny through that era and on that famous day at Wembley. Let's start with the penalty, of course. As he was striding forward to take that, were you pretty confident as his manager he was going to net it?
Well, he looks like Robinson Crusoe there, doesn't he? So
yeah, he just looks a little different now.
Yeah, that he had his nice short back and sides in those days. But he's a top lad. When he was, I don't even know how he's ended up on the fifth penalty. Really, it was one of those when we were out on the pitch. Who wants a penalty? We obviously had Chris Westwood put his hand up, who had never taken a penalty before, but wasn't missing an opportunity to take one at Wembley. And I was just happy for anybody that was a bit more confident to go. And Johnny's obviously ended up on the fifth one. And as he stepped forward, we knew that Maxi had obviously saved a couple, and we had the chance to go and win it, and he took it beautifully, didn't he? Lovely left foot on Johnny, what a player. And there's that picture of him running off with all the players heading off to go and celebrate with him, which is, iconic here for me, and it makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up on it just now. So what a lovely lad, first and foremost. He was coming through when I came back, and Dean Saunders was saying that we've got these two, a left back and a right back in the squad, in the reserves, with Declan Walker being one and Johnny Hunt the other. That have got a real chance as a backup, and when I took over I felt that they had a lot more to give, and Johnny obviously proved it. We weren't as blessed as we are these days with finances and stuff, so we had to be a little bit versatile and make things work, and Johnny could play left wing, he could play left back, he could play left centre mid. A really good football, a very good knowledge and a really good left foot, and a great lad around it, and he worked so hard, went and gave everything on the pitch, and he was perfect for me as a manager to be in the squad.
Fond memories, Mia, of watching Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there weren't too many amazing days, pre-takeover of someone my age as a Wrexham fan, but, thanks to Johnny.
What are you trying to say?
Well, I wasn't trying to put it on.
That one aside.
But yeah, no, that one was one of my favourite memories, and Andy says about that photo, I remember, I think I've got that bit of, from the lead, a bit of newspaper in a scrapbook somewhere, Johnny Hunt running away. So no, certainly a legend in my eyes, and someone who obviously in that position did very well, was always a very good footballer as well for this club. So great to hear him speak again now, and to see he's doing well still.
And an interesting career, Andy, post-Wrexham, to go on not just to Stevenage, of course, who Wrexham faced tonight, but time in Scotland with Hamilton Academical, including a win at Ibrox by 1-0, and time at Mansfield as well, and Cambridge United. So he got his chance in the league and made a good career for himself.
Yeah, absolutely, and he had a go. Sometimes it's very easy to stay where you are and just coast along, if you like, but he had a go. He went into the EFL with Cambridge, had a go, didn't quite work out, but he was able to find a few other different moves around there, and he'll look back on his career and pleasantly be surprised, but it all comes off his hard work and his graft, and he was just a pleasure to manage. No trouble at all, but you knew exactly what he was going to give you on the training ground and on the game when he was playing, and so just a beautiful one to manage, really.
He told me to send you his best, so he remembers you fondly. Well, 5 days ago here at the Stoke Kairas, we had the world's cameras descend on the stadium. The match certainly lived up to expectations. Here's a reminder of the top of the table battle as Wrexham faced Birmingham City.
We've got 4 players at the back, but Scar has followed May, and there's just gaps appearing, little players getting dragged around. And it's going to be very interesting how Wrexham cope with that. The throw to McLean, nice bit of footwork by him, just cuts inside right, goes back to O'Connor. Connor's got his head up, plays it into the second hole, looking to turn the defence again. Laird will get there, but Lee is on his back, and Laird is having to protect the ball before scooping out a clearance. It's not just a clearance, it's a good ball to right, but he can't pick out May. Hurried past by O'Connor, doesn't find Palmer, but challenged by Palmer, though, wins it, and Rathbone can hit this, he kills it. Oh, what a goal! What a goal, Ollie Rathbone! Take a bow! That is an absolute screamer. Birmingham complaining that Palmer fouled Clara, but didn't seem to be an awful lot of contact to me, and Rathbone was so quick, latched on it, curl it from 25 yards, bottom right corner.
Well done, Ollie Rathbone. Like you say, Mark, take a bow. Does so well. Just plays to the whistle like you always should. Birmingham are furious, mind, but who cares? 1-0 Wrexham.
Well, I think it's a free kick, Mark. The way that he's gone through the back of it, but the ref's played on him. I think Ollie Palmer's more surprised than anybody to see that the ref's not pulled it back, but carry on. And what he does do is, though, he uses the defender brilliantly to just bend the ball around into that far corner. Keeper doesn't see it till it's already halfway there, and then he can't muster a dive to get there. That, for me, is a free kick. But then Ollie Rathbone brilliantly wriggles his way out and then bends a fantastic shot into that far corner.
If I was representing Ollie Palmer
out for a corner.
Another corner to the far post, is a free header, it's in! Now, was it offside? No, it's a goal. Header at the far post, and it was headed on target. A player very close to the goal line nodded it in, but there was no flag. I mean, it's a crowded goal mouth, so maybe that explains why there's no offside, but yeah, it's definitely not offside.
Well, they had a warning, didn't they, before, where they peeled around the back. Lyndon Dykes right around the back. All he has to do is head it back towards goal and hope, and it does. It goes through, ricochets off somebody, maybe looking like it's come off Alfie May in the melee in the middle, and he's put it in for 1-1. Very, very simple.
Well, Conquo ran out of the box to complain with the ref. Referee's talking about blocking off of markers again.
When we're on top, that we take these chances if they come along.
Pressure continues. Corner ripped in with pace. Oh, what a save! Ludicrous save that. Flicked on by McLean at the near post. Hell of a save that. What can Wrexham do here? O'Connor whips it to the far post, nicely headed towards goal. It's saved, drops loose, and it squirts wide. Corner. Big moment. Great corner. Good save by the keeper, and deflection in the 6-yard box sends it wide.
Well, somebody keeps electrocuting me over here because she's jumping up and down next to us like she wants to head it in herself. Brilliant, but it just was in slow motion there, wasn't it? When he went to Fletcher, he heads it across. Keeper should have caught it. And it's the follow-up that goes in and blocked out for another corner.
Here it comes, O'Connor, good ball in again! It's in the goal mouth! A huge scramble and it comes clear. Ridiculous scramble that was, goodness.
Honours even then 5 days ago here at the Stoke Ras. Nothing could divide Birmingham City and Wrexham. Those two teams, of course, could still meet in the Virtue Trophy. Wrexham's last 16 match coming up on Tuesday the 4th of February. Could yet be a meeting ahead with Birmingham City, who are still running in that competition and ironically face tonight's opponents, Stevenage. Well, it was an epic night. We thought it would be mere, and it absolutely delivered. It's not going to feel like that inside the Stoke Ras tonight, but what are some of the important aspects for Wrexham to do early in this game to set the right tempo if they haven't quite got the high octane atmosphere perhaps that we had last Thursday?
Yeah, you got to start well tonight. I think, we said earlier, if we can get an early goal, it'd be absolutely massive, against the side who are so good defensively. I think, I know they're 15th in the table, but defensively they're right up there with us and Birmingham, so that goes to show the quality they have. So, if we can start well, I'd like to see, Elliot Lee, Matty James get on that ball, try and be creative, try and be brave, get that pass off, especially at home. That's what we need to do against a team like Stevenage.
Andy?
Yeah, I think you've got to give the crowd something to get a hold of here, because it's not going to be the game that gets them up. It's going to be something that happens in the game, and it was Dobson, wasn't it, the other day with the clash of heads and a little bit of feistiness that really got the crowd involved. I think you've got to do that right from the start and try and get them on board straight away, whether that's a challenge, a kick, a shot, a tackle, whatever it may be. You've just got to get them on board, but they've got to start right. They've got to win the first balls and they've got to win the second balls. If they're more playing direct, we've got to make sure that we're on those second balls and we're getting them and making the right pass from there, and then we can grow our attacks from that.
Andy, Mia, thank you very much for now. Andy Morell and Mia Roberts will be back with me here at half-time. Same link on YouTube, so please come back then for the half-time reaction to the opening 45, and we'll keep you across what's happening in all the other matches on a busy night of League One football this evening. If you've not yet sorted your access for the match, www.wrexhamafc.co.uk/live for all the iFollow options. Andy and Mia will be alongside Mark Griffiths on commentary as ever. But we look forward to seeing you at half-time as we review the opening 45 minutes. We'll see you in a while.
It's a Tuesday night and we're under the floodlights. You know what to do. Dan Kent. Daeth y gwrdd sydd o fyd yn nod yn fydd yn allai awswm o 2 munud ychwanegol. The court officials indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes, added time 2 minutes.
Cyntaf ar y cyntaf o mawrth o Derby Bolton gyda'r pick cyntaf am 3 o'r gol. A reminder the next home game here at the Stoke Kairas is on March 1st when Bolton are visitors for our Sky Bet V1 match which will kick off at 3 p.m. Bydd merched Wrexham yn chwarae cartre nesaf yn erbyn Aberystwyth ar yr ail o Chwefror. Wrexham AFC women's next home game at the Rock is on February 2nd when they face Aberystwyth. Match and season tickets will be available via our ticketing website.
Welcome back to the Stoke Kairas. This one is not going to plan for Wrexham. Half-time here. It is Wrexham 0, Stevenage 2. And in truth, that is a fair reflection of a first half in which Wrexham have really been outplayed by a Stevenage side on the foot from the very start. and Wrexham struggling to really get into this game at all. There have been few alarms for visiting keeper Murphy Cooper, as the rhythm that pervaded throughout the Wrexham performance in the second half against Birmingham City has been sadly absent. In truth, Stevenage could perhaps be at least one further goal to the good. The visitors first threatened in the 13th minute, a great chance from a long throw from Kane Smith. Dan Sweeney couldn't keep his shot down from a golden opportunity blazing over the bar. Notice had been served to Wrexham, but they weren't able to heed it, and just 2 minutes later the busy Dan Kemp, who's been a thorn in the side throughout the first half for the Wrexham midfield and back line, was first to a rebound after Jordan Roberts' shot had been saved by Arthur Okonkwo. That was the opener, and Stevenage doubled their lead. 5 minutes later, in the 18th minute, Jamie Reid interchanging with Louis Appere, and his right foot shot went beyond Arthur Okonkwo into the corner of the net. Wrexham have struggled really to lay a punch on their visitors, who have deployed a number of players in advanced positions, and they have enjoyed the open spaces and unlocking the back of the Wrexham midfield and getting amongst the Wrexham back three, Mia Roberts and Andy Morrell. We've not been in this position too often this season. Andy, is it fair to say that Wrexham have followed probably their best 45 minutes at home this season against Birmingham, with their worst in the opening half tonight?
Yeah, I would say that. I think they've been as lacklustre as I've seen them for a long, long time. Really not at the races, not going pressing, not doing the basics like they normally do so well. We haven't won any first ball really, we haven't won any second ball. We're really deep, the spaces are massive. The front three and Kemp for Stevenage have had a field day. They've been running amok and they've had chances, like you say, could have probably been more than two up. Something needs to happen at half-time. I'm sure Parky's having a few choice words in the changing rooms at the moment with them, and whether he makes a couple of changes around that as well, then I wouldn't be surprised.
Mia?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we spoke about Stevenage being a real tough opponent tonight, but I thought it'd be at the other end where we'd be worrying, and, you know, fair play to them. They've come out and been, you know, exceptional, but I think we've enabled them to do that. We've made it far too easy for them at times. I think, you know, both goals, I think you can look at maybe first one, can Arthur maybe not parry it there? I'm not too sure, but second one, it's a long ball from the keeper. I think Max and Barney, whether they've just had a bit of miscommunications, one of them's got to clear it. One of them has to get rid of that ball. You can't let that ball fall to him. It's a great flick in the end by a fire, is it? I think out on that left, and then, you know, it's an all right finish again. I think Arthur will probably be, you know, he'll be, you know, having to question himself a bit on that one as well, because I think he's got. It looks like he's gone on his side, you know, and he should do better. But yeah, you know, like Andy says, I think we'll just be really disappointed. You know, like you said, coming off the back of that really strong end to second half against Birmingham last week, and, you know, to come out tonight and just show no real fight, no real bravery on the ball, just really poor. So I think, you know, I think there'll be a lot of strong words, like Andy says, and I think we could even see some half-time changes as well.
Yeah, of course, last season we did see on a couple of occasions some heroic comebacks. The Swindon 5-all springs to mind, and in fact Dan Kemp, who scored tonight and has looked so impressive, was one of the goal scorers that afternoon for Swindon. So all is not lost yet, Andy. There's a level of belief, of course, in that dressing room, which comes from played 15, won 12, drawn 3 at home. But it does look a long way back from here against the Stevenage side, who, as you say, Mia, we were expecting to be resolute and tough to beat. We weren't expecting them to be quite so good in the final third.
Yeah, well, this isn't dead and buried at all. 2-0, it's a tricky scoreline, we always say that, but I think we've just got to come out and just leave nothing in the change room. Just got to go for them a little bit. And whether that's a few changes, I think I might just take Matty James out, put Dodson on a bit more legs, put Lee in midfield, stick 2 up front, put Longman on, get him on his debut. That'll lift the crowd regardless of how he does. Put him on as well, maybe at one of the wing backs. Leave Barney on. He's really been our only threat on that right hand side. And I'd just make a few changes and see what that does, and hopefully that'll defibrillate the life into this team for the 45 and just give us every chance. You know, by going with what we've got, you can sort of go, we'll go and prove that was just a misfit of a half. But I think something has to happen, and it's something that needs to get this crowd up, because it's been very, very quiet.
Just look at those attack stats there, Andy. 57% Stevenage possession at for Stoke Kairas. We don't tend to see that so often. 12 shots to 2. I mean, I think those top 2 stats really tell the story.
Well, it's incredible, isn't it? 12 shots on our goal. You know, the back 3 have been worked so hard. They've been really fluid, the front 4 for Stevenage. You know, their play, they can end up in any position, they can find it, but they also know that they haven't really got to track back and run back miles to defend. They're up against the front 3, and that's their job, is to stop them playing out, which they've done really, really well. And we haven't found a solution to playing out. We've just gone long into Palmer and Giovanni, you know,
Carl Piagini.
Yeah, I've got both his names the same. But yeah, he's just dealt with everything. And Sweeney, they've both headed balls very, very simply. We've got to find a way of either getting James on the ball somehow in midfield and playing through and just moving them around, but Kemp's on him. So does he clear out the space and let somebody else come into that space? Those rotations should be happening, and we're just not doing any of it.
Mia, we'll take a look with you now at the defensive stats from that first half, just to see what story that tells. And it's a first half where, again, in the defensive area, the pointers are very much in Stevenage's favour. 5 blocks being required for Wrexham, just the 1 from Stevenage. 25 clearances needing to be made by the Wrexham backline, and just 11 for the visitors. These are not stats that make for very pretty reading. And that one at the bottom there, 28% aerial duels won for Wrexham, but 72 for Stevenage. The stats from top to bottom don't make pretty reading.
No, and you know, particularly that aerial duels won is a big worry, because from minute 1 I just felt like Stevenage were on that first and second, third ball. It just didn't seem like we were getting on the end of anything. You know, we were making maybe that clearance when we did win it back in the final third, and it was just coming straight back at us. And that back line, we haven't been able to get out. You know, the gaps have been absolutely huge, and it's just given Stevenage so much space, so much time to play, and they can play. That, you know, I know they haven't scored too many goals this season, but they're not a bad side. You know, they've got some quality players. Dan Kemp has absolutely ran the show. I've got to say, I've been so impressed with him in that first half. But then also that front 3, some of the flicks they've been, you know, getting away with. I mean, they're absolutely enjoying themselves out there, full of confidence. Why wouldn't you be? You know, when you're playing like that, when you're 2-0 up somewhere like this, you know, there's going to be eyes on this game. You're on TV on a Tuesday night. They're going to enjoy it. So they'll be going in there absolutely buzzing with that first half, and they'll be coming out here absolutely determined to get 3 points and, you know, cause a real upset, because that'll be, you know, a real headline for this league. So they'll be right up for the second half. So, you know, hopefully we are as well. But it's not going to be an easy task getting past the Stevenage side.
Well, the good news is that the PA team here at the Stoke Kairas, Andy and John, haven't lost their sense of humour, because we've got things can only get better from D-Ream booming out around the stadium.
Well,
so
Wickham,
there we go.
Wickham are getting beat as well, I think.
Let's have a look at the half-time results.
That's about all we've got positive to come out of that so far.
We'll take a look at what's happening around League One, Andy. Yes, let's see if Wickham are still trailing by a goal to 0. The other one that stood out for me, I was following through the first half, were events at St James's Park, Exeter. Yes, look at that. Leighton Orient, who are absolutely flying at the moment. They've won 5 of their last 6, top of the form table, and they're going to be winning 6 of their last 7, unless a pretty miraculous second half is put together by Gary Caldwell's side. So yes, Exeter 0, Leighton Orient 4 stands out there. Let's see what else is happening. Bolton 2, Northampton 1. Burton's revival continuing. They're going really well at the moment under Gary Bowyer. 2-0 up against Reading. Charlton 2 up on Bristol Rovers. We've touched on Leighton Orient's dominance at Exeter. All square between Huddersfield and Birmingham. We'll keep a close eye on that one. Blackpool winning at Lincoln. They're starting to move again now, Steve Bruce's side. All square at Field Mill between Mansfield and Crawley. Peterborough leading Wigan, and that might lift Darren Ferguson's men if they can hold on to that one. Rotherham all square with Cambridge. Stockport leading Shrewsbury by a goal to 0, and as Andy was saying, Wickham are 1 down at home to Barnsley. We'll have a little look at what that leaves in terms of the live table as we speak at half-time, and this of course assumes all of those matches stay exactly like that in the second half. Probably unlikely, but it's always interesting to have a check where that leaves things. And of course Wrexham will remain in 3rd spot, but with that red L standing out like a beacon. Wrexham haven't been beaten here since Tranmere Rovers came and won by a goal to 0 back in March. And Leighton Orient continuing that rise up to 7th place in the table. We talked about possible half-time substitutions. Mia, do you think that's likely? We saw all the Wrexham subs come straight out after half-time to warm up. Is that normally a portent for an immediate change, or perhaps not?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It doesn't look like any of them are doing any particular too intense intensive warm-up, so we'll have to see. But I mean, if I was in that position, I'd have to change it, because I just don't think anyone's really put in that graft in that first half. But you know, hopefully they prove me wrong, and you know, maybe he'll say, you know what, give me the first 10 minutes, and if it's not at it, then we'll change it. So we'll have to see. Hopefully.
Well, I can see Paul Mullin is on, and Steve Fletcher is on. I can see them both here. So Mullin and Fletcher are on. So changes for Wrexham have been made. Looks like Palmer is one of those withdrawn, and I think it might be Matty James as well, from what we can see. Okay, second half action about to get underway. Phil Parkinson rolling the dice early. Let's see how this one plays out. Andy Amir will return on commentary on iFollow. We'll return here, same link at full time, to see how it finishes. Half time at the Stoke Kairas. Wrexham 0, Stevenage 2. We'll see you here back at full time.
Also entering the field, number 10, Paul Laurie. He replaces number 37, Matty James.
terminology is fucking mental.
midfield, number 14, Keane Smith. He's being replaced by number 7, Nick Freeman.
Stevenage leading the field, number 11, Jordan Roberts. He's been replaced by number 17, Aaron Bliss. Also leading the field, number 9, Lewis Mahier. He's been replaced by number 30, Jake Young.
towards the 71st minute, number 30, Jake Young. Substitution for Wrexham leaving the field, number 24, Dan Scar. He's being replaced by number 11, Jack Marriott. And leaving the field, number 29, Ryan Barnett. He's being replaced and Kroisoy Kairas to number 47, Ryan Lyman. Substitution for Stevenage, leaving the field, number 6, Dan Sweeney. He's been replaced by number 23, Hurst Olsen. And leaving the field, number 26, Eli King. He's been replaced by number 15, Charlie Dean.
Number 4, MATCHDAY! Not even ourselves to the 7th minute of play goal. The court officials indicating there will be a minimum of 7 minutes added time.
Back to goal by the Stoke Carras, the third meal quick and side to quick. Ever Digan Federico Iberitikia of our horse Stevenage. The official attendance of the Stoke Carras, 10,670. Our grateful thanks to the 248 away fans. We hope you have a safe journey home. The game, yes, of the Stoke Carras has come to have a mouth for every Bolton. We have a kick gun to Hampshire on war. A reminder, the next home game here at the Stoke Carras is on March 1st, when Bolton are visitors for our Sky Bet League 1 match, which will kick off at 3 p.m. We met at Wrexham by Catcher Nessa, but Evan Aberystwyth and Ryan Weber. Wrexham AFC women's next home game at the Rock is on February 2nd, when they face Aberystwyth. Match and season tickets will be available via our website. Good luck on all of our stadium, and the village of the Sky. Now, safely home for supporters.
Handball or dead boys.
30 minutes after full time, and a massive thanks to Andy and John for their help with the music this afternoon. We'll see you again soon. Just like that.
Full time here at the Stoke Carras, and Wrexham's proud unbeaten record has come to a conclusion because it's finished Wrexham 2, Stevenage 3. A much better second half from Phil Parkinson's side, but they had a mountain to climb, trailing by 2-0 at the interval. They certainly gave it a really good go in the second 45. Plenty of changes from the manager, but Stevenage had enough left in the tank to withstand a late Wrexham onslaught and inflict a first home league defeat here since March of 2024. It's a proud home record, but all things come to an end. If you were with us earlier, you'll know that Stevenage led by 2 goals at half-time, goals from Dan Kemp and Jamie Reid after a dominant first half performance. Phil Parkinson making half-time alterations, Steve Fletcher coming on, and Mullin also deployed at the interval. And Wrexham got the benefit 10 minutes into the second half, Mullin getting the final touch to a mishit Ollie Rathbone shot from the edge of the box, giving Wrexham hope and pulling things back to 2-1. But Stevenage then went too clear again in the 73rd minute. Dan Kemp again picking the pocket of the Wrexham back line, and Jake Young finishing neatly to make it 3-1. That led to further changes from the Wrexham bench. Ryan Longman brought on for his debut, Jack Marriott coming on for Dan Scarr. Wrexham really playing the last 20 minutes with only 2 recognised defenders in Max Cleworth and Tom O'Connor, and eventually they got one back, and it was Cleworth with his 7th of the season powering home a 90th minute header. 7 minutes of injury time then followed, Mullin going close at the death with a shot over the top, Elliot Lee being denied by Murphy Cooper, and a penalty claim going unyielded when the ball struck the hand of Lewis Freestone from Orion Ryan Longman cross. It was that kind of night for Wrexham. This time there was to be no late dramatics, and the first L of the season goes down against Wrexham's home record. Mia Roberts and Andy Morell have been commentating on proceedings. Mia, what did you make of all that?
Well, it had to end at some point, didn't it, this home record? I mean, first of all, I was really impressed by Stevenage tonight. I thought, like we said at the start of the show, I think we were all expecting a sort of real tough 0-0 grind to try and break down that defence, not expecting them to really cause us problems further up in the pitch. So full credit to them. I'm really surprised that they haven't won more than, I think it's only 2 away from home before tonight.
That's right.
It's really surprising.
2 from 11.
Yeah, some of the football they played I just thought was outstanding. So it surprised me, to be fair, where they are in the table and that record of lack of goals, really. But full credit to them. I thought they were superb tonight. But second half we obviously came out better, but just that case of too little too late in the end. And it's a real shame as you look off the back of that Birmingham game where there were so many positives to take, and it just felt like we haven't really built on that, which is something you haven't said much about this Wrexham side over the last few seasons. And I think now you're going into February with a lot of away games, and I think we could have done with a big 3 points tonight at home to really go into them with a little bit of something just to already have on the board. I think it just makes it a bit easier when you're going away from home then after a win or some getting something from tonight. But it's like I say, it had to end at some point. Tonight's that night. You can't get too down about it. There's a lot of things to work on that he will have picked up on tonight, Phil and the staff. But again, you've just got to move on, get chins up and go again.
Andy, as I grab a brolly.
Oh, nice. Yeah, cheers. You just look after yourself. I think just so frustrating off the back of the Thursday night second half that we had to come out and play the way we did in the first half. So disappointing. And then we gave it a go in the second half, but really it's just not. We weren't in the races. That first time we didn't deserve to win, but the second half was decent enough. We managed to get those goals. But like Mir said, a little too late really, and we've just given ourselves a too big a mountain to climb in that second half. Subs made a bit of a difference, definitely. We said we needed something at half time, and it certainly gave them that. But that sucker punch of the third by Wickham on the counter, it sort of just killed us off on our comeback off, and we just didn't have enough time at the end to get that third.
You don't often see, Andy, at any level of football, do you, a team come and play so adventurously against a team that have got such an excellent home record. And I know we talked about it earlier in the discussion this evening, but it was such a positive lineup and a positive philosophy from Alex Revell right from the start. It seemed to catch Wrexham cold, just the level of players that Stevenage were prepared to gamble in forward areas.
Yeah, well, I think Phil Parkinson alluded to it in the pre-match talk that you do with him. He said they play forward, they leave 3 up, they're going to play forward, they take a bit of a risk. They certainly did that. It's not like they didn't know about it. We just couldn't deal with it. Their movement was great. I thought Kemp was brilliant in the first half, a little bit more quiet in the second half, but he did set up the goal with a nice little reverse pass. But we just couldn't deal with it. We were too deep, the spaces were too big, and our intensity levels were so much lower than they have been here all season. And you just put yourself on the back foot and you just give yourself too big a hill to climb and get back in the game.
I think as well, not many teams have done that this season or in the past few seasons, really come to the racecourse and straight away from the off looked for 3 points and really gone for Wrexham's throats, if you like. And I think, the worry is now, I think a few teams will be watching that performance by Stevenage tonight thinking, what, if we go at them at their place, maybe we can get
that's
something
the formula.
From the racecourse.
Yeah.
And, that could be the answer. So I think, that's something that we need to address. I mean, looking at the stats in the second half, we've obviously got some more shots away, but I still think there was just too little in terms of creativity. Again, maybe just a bit too reliant on the set pieces. Obviously, that's what the Max Cleworth goal came from. But apart from that, I can't think of too many other chances we really made. I just think we lacked that bit of bravery in that midfield, and just didn't have that same bit of fight and that little bit of bit of anger in that midfield that we had against Birmingham, which is such a shame to see because I just thought we were so intense last Thursday, and we just really missed that again tonight.
Yeah, just looking at the statistics on screen there, we can see the number of shots Stevenage had through the game. Only had one more in the second half, because I remember at half-time, I'm pretty sure they'd had 13. So certainly the Stevenage attack lessened after the interval. Not a surprise when you're leading by 2-0, and Wrexham are throwing plenty of forwards on. Let's have a look at the defensive statistics as well through the evening. One of the things we'd picked out on half-time was the aerial duels. Well, Wrexham did improve in the second half in that area, Mia. I think it was 28-72 at half-time, so 43-57 by the end. Wrexham starting to do a little bit better in the air, but the level of clearances that Wrexham had to make, those 32, the majority of those were in the first half, and that's really where the damage was done, wasn't it? That's where Stevenage have set themselves up for this victory. 2-0 is always a long way to come back from.
Yeah, and I think, we've then got to go for it, and I think on the counter Stevenage looked just as threatening as they did, just in open play in that first half. So we had a massive hill to climb in the end, and like I said, I think it was just too little too late, sadly. But it's one thing you learn from. I think we've maybe at times rode our luck a little bit at home so far this season. In a few games we haven't played to our best ability and still managed to get 3 points or 1. So maybe today's a bit of a wake-up call that it's not always going to go our way at the racecourse, and hopefully that goes in our way going forward.
Well, let's hope finally our away form turns around a little bit, because we've got a fun February ahead, haven't we, with a fair few, all away games. We're not going to play here till March 1st now, so yeah, we're going to have to tweak that a little bit. We're going to have to find a way of winning away from home if we're going to stay in this race for one of those top 2 spots.
Yeah, Crawley, Northampton and Mansfield, the 3 journeys for Wrexham to come in February, as Andy says there. So not teams that are currently jostling in the top 6, all 3 sides in the mid-table region at the moment, but Mansfield have been improving of late, and under Nigel Clough will certainly not be easy, but important for Wrexham to get some points from those trips. Let's have a look then at how the scores are around the league this evening. Most of these games will be full time now, because they were 7:45 kickoffs. The Huddersfield-Birmingham match was an 8 o'clock start, so this game not quite so far advanced, but a full programme in the league tonight, and we've got full times now in all those games. Only the Huddersfield game at the bottom of your screen, which Birmingham City are leading by a 1-0. Probably the result that most Wrexham fans would want there. I think the general consensus is that will certainly be helpful for Wrexham, but that result just above it not going Wrexham's way. Wickham coming back from trailing to beat Barnsley by 2-1. Wickham, of course, having lost manager Matt Bloomfield to Luton Town, have currently got a kind of coalition running that first team squad. Doesn't seem to be affecting them though with that 2-1 victory. Let's have a look down the rest of the scores tonight. Bolton beating Northampton by 3-1. Burton Albion continuing their revival and starting to give themselves real belief that they might be able to get out of relegation trouble, beating Reading 3-2. Charlton 2-0 victors over Bristol Rovers. All the goals in the southwest. Exeter City 2, Leyton Orient 6. They are on fire at the moment, Richie Wellens' side, so they're certainly proving a handful. Wrexham still to play a rearranged home game with the O's. We wait to see when that might be dropped into the schedule. Lincoln 0, Blackpool 2. Good win for Steve Bruce's side. Mansfield losing at home to Crawley. Wrexham, of course, travel to both of those teams in the coming weeks. Peterborough beating Wigan to lift some of the pressure on Darren Ferguson's shoulders. Rotherham beating Cambridge 2-1. And Stockport County, who have struggled a little bit of late, beating Shrewsbury Town by 1-0. Mia, what stands out for you from tonight's scores?
Well, I think it's, bar Huddersfield, I think that's pretty much as everyone around us have picked up 3 points tonight, which, going into February now, if I don't want to say it, but hypothetically, if we do struggle this next month, suddenly you're looking at your Leyton Orient, your Boltons, rather than your Huddersfields and Wickhams, which in the form that Leyton Orient are in, Bolton picking up after obviously getting that win against Huddersfield on the weekend too. You're thinking, okay, could be a really difficult end to the season, and suddenly you're just scraping or trying to get playoffs rather than automatics. So yeah, I think February is going to be a big month. We really need to pick up that away form.
I think Bolton looking there, they've won 2 now after Ian Everts left there. I think they've got a really talented squad, and I think they're ones to maybe keep an eye on as well, because even though they've had so much upheaval for the start of the season with Evo and everything, they're still 7th. Do you know what I mean? And they're right in it, and so they have a lift off the back of maybe him leaving they're right in the mix, and they could be one that could really charge and make a charge at the end of the season.
Seem to be coping well without Dion Charles, because he of course went to Huddersfield. That's and right. Much to the disappointment of a lot of Bolton Wanderers supporters. Let's have a look at the table then this evening, because it's going to start to show a bit of clear water between Birmingham City, Wycombe Wanderers and the chasing pack, which Wrexham are now forming a part of after tonight's scores. So Wycombe Wanderers opening up that advantage to 6 points over Phil Parkinson's side. Birmingham City top of the table, so this table does include the assumption that Birmingham will hold on and win that match against Huddersfield. Wrexham in third then on 52. Bolton, as Andy was saying, going nicely now up to 7. So Wrexham with an 8-point cushion on the 7th place team. That's important, of course, because teams 3 to 6 will contest the playoffs, and they're a Leyton Orient up to 6th place. Congrats to them, they're really flying. You can see 4 wins out of the last 5 on that graphic, but they've actually won 6 of the last 7, so Richie Wellens' team really ticking, and that's going to be a tough home game for Wrexham when that one goes into the schedule. Huddersfield 4 points behind Wrexham, assuming they lose that game to Birmingham City. Stevenage, tonight's winners, still down in 15th, but if you look, there's 4 sides there on 37 points. Stevenage with a game in hand, or a couple on many of the teams above them, so they'll still be looking up rather than down at this point. Let's have a look at the bottom of the table and look at Burton Albion's continuing push away from what looked like a forlorn hope of survival in the league just a few weeks ago, but their good form continues. Look at that, 4 straight wins. Congratulations to Gary Bowyer, experienced manager in and around this level. So Burton's starting to look at Northampton Town now to try and
Bodvarsson
get up there, and a certain yes, John Daddy Bodvarsson, exactly. We've seen him somewhere before, I think. Yeah. So yes, making quite an impact there, Andy. And do you think, well, looking at that table now, it looked like the bottom 4 were kind of starting to be cut adrift, but now suddenly they're giving themselves a good chance, all of those sides.
Yeah, well, it's amazing, isn't it? I've spoken about it before, about when a striker gets a goal that, you know, from nothing, and he's tapped one in early on in his career, and he's basically hit the ground running since he's gone in there. You get a goal, lifts your confidence, you're the main man, you're the guy that's going to keep them maybe in the division, and off he goes. And I think it's 3-3 now, and I don't know if he scored tonight as well, but he certainly picked them up, and Gary Bowyer, obviously an experienced manager, gone in there and turned things around.
Yeah, Mia, this won't be by some distance, I'm sure, what Phil Parkinson would have wanted from this evening, quite clearly, not just the defeat but the manner of that first half performance. It's now going to be perhaps Wrexham's biggest test in the League One journey so far. The fact that it's now 3 away games on the spin, and the fact they've now lost 3 of the last 5 in the league.
Yeah, it's something that hasn't, often been the case in that changing room. So, something different for them boys to face and hopefully come out the right side of. But, I think they've still got to be positive. There's so many things they've done so well this season, and you still sat third. I think you've got to look at the table sometimes and be realistic and think, you know what, we're still thereabouts. It's not like we've fallen off massively, and you're so far adrift. There's absolutely no chance in catching, because you're still right up there. So, we've got to be positive, but. I think in the next few days now, does that game maybe really push some new players through this door? Because tonight was really below par, but then again it's football, isn't it? Last Thursday we're all absolutely shouting about how surely now that means we're right up there with your Wycombes and Huddersfield. So it's it's crazy how things can change, but I think, like we say, it's going to be a real tough month, February, and this will be a real test of character and squad depth as well, because I think that's something that we'll see. I think Saturday will be interesting to see who he goes for. Does Elliot Lee drop into that midfield like he did in that second half? Does Mullin maybe come in after that performance? I thought he did well when he came on, looked really up for it. So there's a lot of questions at the moment, but I'm sure this Wrexham team time and time again now have answered them and provided the answers. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see, especially with current away form. Can we pick that up, and can we go again?
The highs and lows of football, isn't it? Thursday we are buzzing off the back of, we're looking up, we could get this second spot, it's right there for us, and now we're worrying about 6th and Bolton 7th. They were really have won 2 on the last 2 games. Phil Parkinson is brilliant at being very, very steady state and not getting too high when you win and not getting too low when you lose. And he'll be really disappointed with the first half today, especially. He'll know that that's miles away from where they normally are with their game plan and their intensity and the way they go about their games, especially here at home. And so it was bit of one of those, back to the drawing board. But in a few days' time, you get to put it right, don't you? And you get to go away on a long trip to Crawley. Maybe it is good to maybe go away and get away and have those away fans cheering you on, because they're brilliant away from home, and go and put a real good performance on away from home and really lift everybody's spirits that way. It's a very simple thing to do, isn't it?
And it was pretty much a year ago that Wrexham had their bad run in League Two, wasn't it? It was, I think it was early February,
That's
wasn't
right.
it, rather than late January? But it was kind of this time of year there was that run of 3 straight
Something
defeats.
in that?
Well, I mean, I think I looked to it more as the fact that it became the catalyst for a fantastic run in, didn't it? Where Paul Mullin really hit his straps and was scoring goals for fun, and then that victory over Forest Green almost felt a kind of throwback to the National League second season, when the weaker sides were being put away here comfortably, and obviously we were going on for 111 points. But I just wonder whether there's almost a bit of muscle memory that goes in that dressing room now, Mia, that says, OK, we've lost 3 from 5, we've had a bit of a bad run, the table's not looking quite so good as it did, but this happened last year, we came good this time last year, so it's just a bit of a reset, it's a check to then build and go again and change plans and maybe make 1 or 2 alterations, maybe an extra player might come in, and it's a reminder, and better to have it now than this to suddenly hit in April.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's one of the most valuable, things in that dressing room is experience. We've got a number of players in there who've played so many games, at this level and above. I think we've got a number of, championship real players in there now, especially with someone like Ryan Longman coming in too. So I don't think there'll be much panic. Like Andy says, Phil Parkinson's a master of that, just really settling things down, going back to the drawing board, back to square one almost. And there's obviously concerns after tonight, because it was a poor performance. It's so unlike Wrexham, particularly at home. But sometimes that's football, that can happen, and you just have to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that sounds so simple, but you've got to make sure you go to Crawley and you've now just got to get a result and just forget about it.
Yeah, I think that you spoke about the catalyst at Forest Green. That was a really scrappy point at the end of the day. It wasn't a big win or a massive statement win. It was a point at the end of the day, but it got Mullin going. It got the team a little really important point, because they were struggling at the time and they were able to get back in the game. That can happen again, It's, like you say, experience that the lads have got in there. They can do this, and they're definitely good enough, and they've definitely got the players in there. They've showed it already this season. You don't end up third after 28 games, is it? 29 games. If you're not a good team, you've just got to now not think, oh no, these lot coming behind us. You've got to think, no, we're going for Birmingham. We're going to try and chase them down.
Yeah. The late shout for a penalty tonight, let's just touch on this one, because a big shout went around. Ryan Longman, who's just gone in after a bit of a warm down, get your thoughts on his cameo for 20 minutes in a moment. It was his cross. It certainly struck the hand of Lewis Freestone, and it's back to that age-old quandary, ball to hand or hands to ball. How did you see it, Mia?
Well, I definitely appealed for it, didn't I? I think I was off.
We were both off our seats. Yeah, we were.
I did too.
But I only saw it quickly on the replay, because I think there was another passage of play going on, and it's definitely hit his arm. But I think his arms are by his side. I think if you start giving them, I wouldn't want it given against me when I did watch it the second time over. So it's a difficult one. I think in that time of the game you can always do them, but yeah, it's a difficult one for the referee.
Excellent. OK, I can see Phil Parkinson is free, coming into shot. Phil, thanks for joining us after full time tonight. What are your thoughts?
Nowhere near good enough, unfortunately, for us tonight. We were second best physically in that first half. They won all the seconds, all the duels all over the pitch. We spoke about what type of game it was going to be. I said to you before the game what type of game it was going to be. And we didn't deal with the physicality of them enough. We didn't do the horrible things you need to do in football, which is deal with 1v1 situations, stay with runners, block things. And this team, this season, we've built our story of this season so far on being resilient and strong defensively, because we haven't been free scoring. We haven't been like we have in other years. We've been hard to play against, structured, and tonight that went completely out the window. We had a go second half, got the goal back. The third goal was ridiculous, how that's ended up in the back of the net. And then we kind of like got 3-2, and you always felt, could there be a moment to get back? But listen, if we did get the goal, it obviously papers over the performance, because there wasn't enough fight in us tonight. There just wasn't. There was 2 or 3 players who I could say stood up to it, and the rest of the team were not really ready to fight and scrap against the team who we explained before the game. That's what they're good at, and they thoroughly deserve the win tonight.
Why did you think that was?
Very difficult and to say. Obviously the goals kind of which go in, the first one should never go in, we know that. Obviously knocks you as a team, but I think we've had enough kind of games where we have conceded and we've responded better than we did tonight. But in that first period we just didn't handle their players, and I think when the quality of the play was nowhere near what it needed to be, then you've got to make sure you stand strong as a team and get to half time at 1-0. But the goals are just so poor from our point of view, and we're just too easy to score against, and now against these teams who are physical and are putting it on us a little bit, we've got to do better.
You said the third goal was ridiculous. What aspect of it particularly frustrated you?
We lost challenges in the middle of the pitch. We were second best to it, and then the lads kind of... It's just too easy in and around our box. We always speak in the dressing room about blocking shots, stopping crosses in and around the box, because those things mean, Steve, get your promotions ultimately. And we didn't do that anywhere near enough tonight. And of course, I've got to look closely at myself as well, which obviously I will do, because clearly I've prided myself since I've been here of getting performance out of these lads week in, week out, and we've done that, but for whatever reason tonight we looked a long way off it.
In terms of reflecting and looking forward now, was there enough in the second half response to give you hope that the team can pick themselves up quickly, or is it going to require, do you think, a little bit more surgery from you and Steve and others on the training ground?
I think we've got to get back to basics. I do, honestly. I really do. And we've just got to get back to having a stronger structure without the ball and doing the very basic things well. And we can't kid ourselves. I think that's, let's not kid ourselves. That performance defensively as a whole team was not good enough against a team who have got a good win Saturday, but they don't score a lot of goals. But we made their front players look good tonight.
Mm-hmm. And now you'll go through a series of away matches, 3 to come in February. What will you think about in terms of changing to philosophy and of how you go at those games to try and get a strong return from those?
Well, obviously I've got to reflect on tonight, and obviously we go away from home Saturday, and now myself and the staff have got 2 or 3 days to prepare for that game, and at the moment this game's in my mind, not the next one. I'll be reviewing this game and concentrate and pick the team which is going to fight. He's going to fight tooth and nail for every ball all over the pitch, and there wasn't enough kind of determination. And sometimes when you're not playing well, and some players looked a bit low on confidence for whatever reason tonight, grit and determination, structure can see you through, but we didn't have that tonight.
Just a word on Ryan Longman. Opportunity to see him for the first time. Got on for 20 minutes. How do you think he got on his debut?
Yeah, he did well. He did well. He's a good player.
All right. Well, Phil, look, thanks so much for your honesty. Really appreciate your time, and thank you so much. Cheers. Phil Parkinson, the Wrexham manager. Of course, a difficult night for the Wrexham manager as his side's home record comes to an end against Stevenage. Phil, as ever, refreshingly honest, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sitting there, and if I'm a player, I know that I've not done my job today. And I think he's very honest, he's very straightforward, and he knows that they are miles away from the standards that they've set for themselves for this year, and if that means a little rattle up, a little shake up, he's hurting. You can hear it in his voice, he's hurting. And I've been there when you get beat, when you shouldn't get beat, when you look at a table and you just sit there and you second guess yourself, why did I do that? Why did I play him? Why didn't I start him? Why did I do that? They'll be going through his head. He'll have a sleepless night tonight. I know it, because that's what managers do. They go through it and they go over it and over it and over it. But what certainly he will do is he'll sit down with Steve Parkin and his coaching staff, and he'll have a look at that game. He'll look at it back, he'll watch it back, and then he'll go and pick a team that he knows will go and run around at Crawley. Simple as that. We'll go and put the bodies on the line. They'll go and get dug in, and the quality might not be as high as it can be, but he knows that they'll put a right shift in for the group, and they'll react to what's happened tonight. And they've had that. They've had that on every defeat that's happened here. It's only 6, isn't it, that we've had this season? But every time they've reacted in a positive way, they'll go and do that again. But he knows that he's got difficult decisions ahead.
Mia, what stood out for you in Phil's remarks?
Back to basics. I think completely right. Obviously he knows best, but yeah, I just thought in moments tonight it was real simple things that we just weren't doing right. And it's, watching the same 11 that started in that Birmingham game, it's crazy how that can happen. But like you say, that is football, and it can sometimes just unfold like that. But yeah, I think there's going to be obviously a lot of disappointment in there, because you can, like Andy says, you can hear it in Phil's voice, and those players want to do him proud every time they come out, and they'll be really disappointed with that, to not only let him down, let fans down tonight, but they'll know they can be better, and that's what they've got to do now. They've got to prove that, and like he says, put in that work, get that fight back, because I think that's what this club prides itself on, having that fight. You've got to do whatever you can for that badge on your chest, and yeah, hopefully now going into Crawley, they've got something to prove again, and you've got to try and get that reaction, and like he says, go back to basics, do the easy things, even if it is super simple, just get them right, and everything else that will then comes with that.
The aggression was interesting, what he said about being aggressive, and I think that their front three, they really dictated to our back three where we were on the pitch. We couldn't get out. Every time the ball came in, it was too easy for them to get a hold of. Normally, as a centre three, you're pushing them up, and as a striker, you've got to drop back in, and then you're constantly thinking about your position, whereas they just dictated where our back three was, which was miles away from our midfield, and they were miles away from our front two. And so that's what he'll be looking at and going back to, I'm sure, and that's what he means by basics. Let's stay as a structured 3 sets of units. Let's stay really tight together. Let's be hard to beat, and then as we go forward up the pitch, we'll let the players do their thing.
I was surprised by his comment about confidence, and players that didn't look like they had the right level of confidence tonight. You're thinking, that's the 11 that started against Birmingham, and I'm surprised not by the comment, but more by the fact that that's his analysis, which I'm sure would be accurate. He's in the dressing room, we're not, so he's seeing the players close up. Why would players not be confident when they've just stood toe to toe and actually been the better side against Birmingham 5 days ago? They're sitting third in the table, looking up against a team coming with no real away form. Why wouldn't you be confident?
Well, I think you've just said that everything like that plays with your mental mindset when you're coming to the game like this, and we said it literally at 7 o'clock, didn't we? I said I think it's going to be a harder game than the Birmingham one, and it turned out that way, because your mentality coming is they don't score a lot of goals away from home, they draw a lot of games, they're going to not have a lot of the ball. Well, they did. They put it right on us, and they had a lot of the ball up top, and they caused us a lot of problems, and your mindset's completely wrong for the situation that you're going to go and, no, I'm going to win the first ball, I'm going to be aggressive in my position, and I'm going to set the tone for the team. I think that mindset that they've come with wasn't right.
Mia, Phil was talking there about wanting to select a side against Crawley that are going to fight for every ball and fight for the points in that game. Who do you think he might be thinking of in his mind as to who might come into a starting berth for that game, if that's the number one priority, if you like, from the attribute of a player he wants to play in that game?
Paul Mullins probably number one in terms of them characteristics for me, especially with how he came on in tonight's game, and that's sometimes just what you need, just that player with that who's going to come on and give you that little bit of bite. I thought perfect examples of that are Ollie Rathbone and George Dobson, who did that against Birmingham last week. Just literally, you don't have to get every pass right, but just make sure your opposite man, your opposite number, don't give them an absolute second to even breathe or get that touch away, get their head up. Just absolutely take every single second away from them to do that, because it'll just make your job and your teammates' job so much easier if you keep that intensity. And listen, you can't do that for 90 minutes straight, we know that, but I just think tonight we just really didn't get going in that department, and And now he's saying that for Saturday. It makes perfect sense because we just didn't do that at all tonight. So I think Paul Mullen's probably one, and like I mentioned before, it'd be really interesting to see if he changes up that midfield. I think obviously he said Lewis Brunt was fit, obviously wasn't involved tonight. Saw him at pre-match doing a few runs. Will he come back into it
You'd think
Saturday?
There's a good
possibly.
chance, wouldn't you? I mean, Phil's
Yes.
clearly very angry with the defensive frailties, conceding 3. So
if you don't make any changes off the back of that performance,
Yeah.
then I think there's going to be questions asked, aren't there? I think he's got to shake the dice, rattle a few cages in there. I think it's probably a right time to do that, and I think he'll make changes. And I think we'll see Mullin from the start. I think we'll probably see Brunt come in. I think Dobson and Rathbone were good enough tonight.
I thought Dobson in particular was good again.
They both grafted, but I think you might see a couple of changes that might surprise us. But don't be surprised at anything because we're going to need to find a way, aren't we?
But we've always said all season, haven't we, on Matchday Live, it's about a squad, and it's a depth of a squad. And a squad is there partly for injuries, but it's also there for dips in form, and to know that actually if someone has a bad night and their head's gone down a bit, you haven't got to play them next week because your only option is someone who's come through the youth team and is probably nowhere near ready for this level yet. You've actually got options here who can come in and do a job, and that's what Wrexham can benefit from now. They've got that depth. There are options when players dip in form and confidence in injury. So there are options for Phil. It's not a question of saying, well, I've just got to hope these guys play better.
No, and that takes pressure off as well, like you say, and obviously there's still the opportunity to go get more players and add to that depth. So it'll be really interesting to see the club's movements next week or so. But yeah, I think the question now is can we pick up that away form, and I think listen, if we go to Crawley, even if we get a point, I think you've got to look at that performance. Can we just put up a bit of a better fight than we did tonight? That's what they'll be asking for, and it's about that reaction. I think from minute 1 against Crawley, can we start well? I don't think we did that tonight. I thought we were shell shocked at times from minute 1. Really, I think Stevenage really came out and put our backs against the wall, and that's something not many teams, like we said, have done at the racecourse so far this season. So it'll be really interesting. But hopefully they get heads up and go again.
I think Marriott as well. He may come into the reckoning as well because he came on. He's lively around up the front. He runs in behind. He offers something a little bit different to the rest of them. He got a shot off it, and he asks a few different questions to other players. So I think we might see him as well. Is that about 14 players I've got playing?
We'll have to draw the line at 11 at some point, Andy, but I'm sure that's a good permutation as well. Just before we close, just to take matters off the field for a second, exciting news confirmed this week that we will see a design for the new cop stand in the first week in February as it goes through to the next stages of ultimately seeing that come up behind us and hopefully not too distant future to start to become a reality. Really exciting to see those plans and to hear that coming out from the club of the design and the fact it's going to use local materials and have a real Wrexham feel to it, but also how that could just become the first piece of the jigsaw here with the option to develop the rest of the stadium in keeping with how the new stand will look.
Yeah, super exciting. I mean, obviously last few seasons has been so successful on that pitch, so it'll be really nice, to see those plans. And like they say, I think one of the things you picked out there, that it's going to be unique to Wrexham and not be your sort of, as seen everywhere in Europe and across the planet, sort of design. So yeah, it's really exciting and something to really look forward to.
Well, the score in front of the Kop is just a sensational feeling. It was one of the best feelings I had. Such a heart warmth in front of that Kop. So I can't wait to see the plans. It's going to be brilliantly. I'm sure it's going to be top draw. Do you know what I mean? And exciting for the rest of the ground as well. Get 5,500 in behind there and sucking the ball in on a wet Tuesday night will be something to wait for. So looking forward to that, and it's great to have those plans in place.
We look forward to seeing those, and we look forward, Andy and Mia, to seeing you again soon. We're not quite sure when, as somebody famously once said, but certainly for Bolton Wanderers on the 1st of March, if not before. So we shall see you then for Matchday Live when we're back here at the Stoke Kairas. Well, in life, all good things come to an end. Wrexham's unbeaten home record tonight did exactly that, as Stevenage made the long trip up to North Wales and deserved their 3-2 victory. This wasn't Wrexham's night, but for the men from Broadhall Way, both the players and the manager can revel in their victory. From all of us here in North Wales, diolch am wylio. We'll see you next time. Good night.